Working so hard each and every day to plumb the depths of this great play.
Rachel Zegler reportedly broke down after shocking rumors claimed her own co-star, Andrew Burnap, blamed her for Disney's Snow White disaster. With behind-the-scenes drama, awkward press moments, and fan outrage piling up, is she being pushed out for good? Stay tuned, and don't forget to hit subscribe. When Disney first announced a live-action remake of Snow White, the internet lit up with excitement. A new version of a timeless classic? It sounded like a no-brainer hit. Rachel Zegler, fresh off a critically praised performance, was cast as the new Snow White. Andrew Burnap was brought in as her leading man. At first glance, everything looked perfect. Fans were hopeful. The original animated version, released in 1937, was Disney's first feature-length film. Remaking it was a massive deal. Andrew, known for his stage work and charm, was expected to bring new life to the role of the prince. Rachel, on the other hand, had the spotlight fully on her, Disney's next leading lady. But things didn't go as planned.
It's like the most incredible thing in the world.
Almost from the start, the film was met with confusion. The buzz started turning into concern, and people began noticing a pattern in the way Rachel was talking about the movie. What was supposed to be a fairy tale comeback for a classic started to feel more like a storybook falling apart page by page. And behind the curtain, things were about to take an unexpected turn that even Disney couldn't control. During early press for the movie, Rachel made some bold comments that quickly caught attention. While trying to modernize the story, she began criticizing the original version and the romance at its center. One of the comments that drew the most backlash was when she referred to the prince, played by Andrew Burnap, as someone who literally stalks her.
A big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Though she probably meant it as a lighthearted critique of old storytelling, many felt it came off as dismissive, even disrespectful. Fans of the original film were surprised. Wasn't this remake supposed to honor the classic while updating it? Even more, people began to notice that Rachel seemed to be undermining the love story altogether. She kept saying the film wasn't about romance, even though Andrew's character was heavily featured in promotional materials. This led to speculation that Andrew's role was being reduced, or worse, completely sidelined. Rachel's tone in interviews raised eyebrows, as it often sounded like she was distancing herself from the project's original heart. Viewers started asking, if the love story isn't important, why is Andrew even in the movie? As the press tour continued, tension seemed to grow, both on-screen and off. And Andrew? He stayed quiet, but not for long. Andrew Burnap had every reason to be excited about this film. He had worked hard, landed a major Disney role, and expected this to be his big break into mainstream film.
Hey, Jake is looking for a young, up-and-coming actor to run lines for this project.
But as Rachel's interviews began overshadowing the film's original narrative, rumors started flying. Insiders whispered that Andrew wasn't happy with how things were going. Some even alleged that he felt sidelined and blamed Rachel for shifting the public's perception of the movie before it was even released. In one of her interviews, Rachel casually mentioned that all of Andrew's scenes could get cut. It may have been said in jest, but it didn't sit well with audiences or with those allegedly involved behind the scenes. To many, it seemed like she was mocking the importance of his role. Andrew, who had once said landing the part was life-changing, now found himself caught in a film that was rapidly spiraling downward. His dream role was turning into a background character in a story rewritten by controversy. The tension between the co-stars wasn't public, but rumors continued to build. Was Andrew truly blaming Rachel? While nothing was officially confirmed, it didn't stop the speculation, and soon the numbers would speak louder than any rumor. When Snow White finally hit theaters, all eyes were on the numbers. Despite its big budget and Disney name, the film's debut weekend was far from magical. It opened with disappointing ticket sales, sending shockwaves through Hollywood. But the real shock came in the second week.
I am walking into Snow White. Let's see how empty it is. 1, 2. Okay.
The movie experienced a staggering 66% drop in box office revenue, worse than Disney's Dumbo remake, which had already been considered underwhelming. Critics were not kind. On IMDb, the movie started sinking quickly, earning one of the lowest ratings ever for a Disney live-action remake. Fans had expected the film to gain traction after the initial weekend. After all, Disney movies often rely on word of mouth and family visits to theaters, but that momentum never came. Theaters began to empty. Social media exploded with photos and videos showing nearly empty screenings of Snow White. It was no longer just a box office disappointment, it was a public spectacle. And just when things seemed like they couldn't get worse for Rachel, she made a move to support her own film. But instead of boosting interest, it would only deepen the embarrassment. What was meant to be a sweet gesture became the internet's next big meme. Hoping to show support for her movie, Rachel went to a local theater with friends to watch Snow White. It might have been an attempt to connect with fans or generate buzz, but what happened next added fuel to the fire. Her friend documented the moment on Instagram, shouting Rachel's name when it appeared on screen. The problem? The theater was practically empty. The video spread like wildfire. People were stunned, not just at the poor turnout, but at how surreal it all felt. A lead actress watching her own film in a nearly deserted theater? It looked like something out of a comedy sketch, not a Hollywood premiere. The clip kicked off a trend. Soon, people were filming themselves going to see Snow White, and most of them showed the same thing: empty seats. Instead of drawing sympathy, the moment became meme-worthy. Critics called it a perfect summary of the movie's fate. Supporters felt sorry for her, but even they couldn't deny the optics were tough. Rachel had tried to uplift her movie. Instead, the internet saw it as a symbol of how far things had fallen. Behind the scenes, this event didn't go unnoticed, and at Disney, patience was running out. Disney had invested a reported $270 million into Snow White. But the return wasn't just underwhelming, it was turning into a full-blown brand embarrassment. Executives were said to be scrambling for solutions, and internal meetings reportedly took place to discuss the growing backlash. Whispers began to circulate that Disney was planning to distance itself from Rachel. Unconfirmed reports claimed she had already been quietly removed from future projects. While nothing was publicly announced, the change in tone was noticeable. Disney seemed to stop promoting Rachel as the face of the franchise. More surprising were reports that the film's producer had been flown out, twice, to have private conversations with Rachel about the situation. Insiders suggested Disney had hoped to contain the fallout, but wasn't seeing results. Her continued social media posts and public commentary were said to be frustrating executives who felt she was hurting the film instead of helping it. Rachel, once seen as Disney's rising star, was now rumored to be the reason behind the film's unraveling. But she wasn't the only one caught in the storm. Because behind the cameras, even her co-stars weren't on the same page. Rachel and Gal Gadot played rivals on screen. But off-screen, things were just as tense. Rumors of friction between the two actresses started long before the premiere. Insiders claimed their relationship was strictly professional and lacked any personal warmth. They appeared distant during interviews and photo calls, rarely interacting, even at major events. At the European premiere in Spain, Gal didn't even show up. Instead, she promoted the film separately, attending a children's event at Disneyland the very next day, while Rachel did the same across town. Their dynamic reportedly became a headache for the studio. With such high expectations, Disney had hoped for chemistry between the two leading women to fuel excitement. Instead, it became a carefully choreographed effort just to get them in the same room. Gal reportedly believed in letting the film speak for itself, while Rachel's outspoken interviews created headlines that Gal allegedly didn't agree with. The rift between them only made promotional efforts more difficult. For Disney, it was another unexpected hurdle in a project that had already hit too many bumps. By now, the cracks in the production were fully visible, and Rachel's attempts to make peace came a little too late. As the backlash reached new heights, Rachel finally addressed the situation with a public apology. In a carefully worded post, she explained that her previous comments had been misunderstood and taken out of context. She stressed that she never meant to disrespect the original film or its characters. She acknowledged the frustration, stating that her passion may have clouded her messaging. Rachel said she was committed to learning and doing better. The apology was meant to be a reset, a chance to cool things down, but not everyone was convinced. What do you think? Was Rachel treated unfairly, or did her own words turn the audience away? Let us know in the comments below. We're reading them all.